Welcome everybody to a look at the fourth and final film in the Savage Guns box set. So I've been looking forward to this one because it was director, but it is from 1975 and it is Four of the Apocalypse, or The Four of the Apocalypse. So yeah, like I said, I was looking forward to this because of the director, and it is because it's directed by Lucio Fulci, who I've really enjoyed plenty of films from before, like Don't Touch a Duckling, The Sidekick, The Black Cat, although they are more leaning into the horror genre. But he also did Massacre Time, which was a spaghetti western in one of the previous spaghetti western box sets from our video. So yeah, that's the main reason why I was looking forward to this, because it's the first time we've had a director that we've had before. And yeah, this is a really odd mix of, not just the spaghetti western genre, but you've also got elements of romance, comedy, drama, and even horror. So it clocks in at 104 minutes long. It stars Fabio Testi, who I've seen him before in the likes of Revolver, The Big Racket, and The Heroin Busters. Also stars Michael J. Pollard, who was in Bonnie and Clyde and Split Second. So this is about four petty criminals, three men and one woman, who wander through the trackless terrain of the Wild West in Utah and are hounded by a sadistic bandit. Now, although that sadistic bandit bit is a crucial part to the plot, it isn't the only part of the plot, because you start off with a good section of the first act where you meet up these characters, they're all in jail, and then this town gets attacked by a bunch of vigilantes. They escape, they end up becoming likable with one another, and then the sadistic bandit comes into it. So yeah, and even then the sadistic bandit himself have ended up disappearing for a little bit and only really reappears in the last 10 or so minutes of the film. So yeah, sadistic bandit is a crucial role, but it's not the crucial role. And yeah, it is played by a well-known actor that I've seen stuff from before. I think it's Thomas Millian, who also was in Don't Torture a Duckling. So yeah, seen him in other films, but I didn't mention him purely because he isn't the main crucial role in this film. Fabio Testi is obviously a far more prominent actor in this film. So even though the disparate mix of elements in this spaghetti western do not manage to wholly join up effectively, because you're going to get a lot of tonal whiplash from this, as we have the likes of dark moments that involve the murder of innocent men, women, and children, as well as sexual assault. But then you also have elements like a group of men getting all teary-eyed over the birth of a baby, and then you also get some slight attempts at comedy, and then you also got revenge parts to it as well. So there's a whole palette of elements to this film. So that does make the tone shift dramatically in areas. But that said, the odd mix of genres and plot points do make this an engrossing effort, while it is also well paced and the cast is really good, especially Fabio Testi. The score is also well done. The cinematography is on point, and is typically violent for a Fulci film. The squibs of the people getting shot and whatnot are really rather effective. So yeah, overall a good effort. An odd mix, and it's certainly not quite as focused, I'd say, as the first two films, but I do prefer it to the third film. So I am giving this 4 out of 5. Which is still a decent score, and it is able to match the scores of the first two films, and it's slightly ahead of the third. So there's the printed disc, and then we get the reversible artwork, which is pretty good as well. It shows off one particularly gruesome moment where a guy gets his skin flayed, as you can see. That's being done by Thomas Millian as Fabio Testi looks on. So yeah, on the disc itself, we get a 2K restoration of the original 35mm camera negative. We also get Italian and English front and end titles, with the English titles newly restored for this Arrow Films release. Get restored original lossless mono Italian and English audio. We also get English subtitles for the Italian soundtrack. Optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing for the English soundtrack. Brand new audio commentary by author and critic Kat Allinger, as well as Apocalypse Now, brand new introduction by journalist and critic Fabio Milelli. We get It Takes Four, previously unreleased interview with production manager Roberto Spagaria, however you say his name. Brand new in-depth appreciation of the film by author, critic, and Lucio Fulci scholar Stephen Thrower. Then we get a brand new in-depth appreciation of the soundtrack and its composers, Franco Bixo, Fabio Frizzi, and Vince Tempera, by musician and disc collector Lovely John. Then we get newly restored theatrical trailer and image gallery. So yeah, overall this box set hasn't been quite as good as the previous two. The previous two box sets at least had two films in there that I'd give 4.5 out of 5. whereas this only has three films that are 4 out of 5 and one that is 3.5 out of 5. Now, granted, that does make it a bit more consistent. There's no big drops and peaks in this box set like there were in the previous two, but it does also mean that it's a little bit on the weaker side of things when it comes down to it. So, yeah, in terms of ranking them though, I'm gonna give the likes of El Puro first place. Then I will give the Four of the Apocalypse second place, just purely because the odd mix of genres and plot elements really do make it an engrossing effort, and it's kind of an interesting one in that regard. And then we'll have I Want Him Dead. No, it's not doing much new, but the cinematography and the score are so great that it really does elevate the more basic plot and the shallow characterization. And then for fourth, but not last, but certainly is least, we have Wrath of the Wind. Now, it's not because it's awful or anything like that. I just feel like the stretches in it that don't quite do much or have a lot of excitement going on really do drag the film down a little bit. Now, granted, I did only see the 97-minute version, so whether or not the 106-minute Spanish version is any better, I'll have to wait and see for a future viewing of that. But yeah, it's a respectable effort. I like the political themes, the cast are good and whatnot, but yeah, it definitely could have been a bit more of an exciting film overall because it does feel like it rushes a lot in the last 15 minutes, whereas you could have spread that out a little bit better. But overall, it's still a solid box set. It's certainly not a disappointing one, just not quite as great overall as the previous two, which you know had a lot higher peaks, and Massacre Time, for instance, is a far better film than the Four of the Apocalypse, which, like I said, was also done by Lucio Fulci. So yeah, even Lucio Fulci couldn't follow up even that great film with another great film. But still, overall, it's well worth watching these films. They are four films that are really rather quite individual to one another. None of them feel the same, even though they are technically in the same spaghetti western genre. But yeah, if you want spaghetti westerns, then I would recommend Vengeance Trails and Blood and Money, which are definitely the two better box sets. But still, not ashamed of getting this at all. Not annoyed that I bought it, because it is still at the end of the day providing four really entertaining films. Just not quite as entertaining as the other two box sets. So yeah, but if you've seen the Four of the Apocalypse or any of these other films, then I'd like to hear your thoughts on them. But nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.